We're glad you made time to join us for another edition of News 360 on TV3, also live on DSTV, channel 279. I am Grace Hamwajuman.
And I am Noble Crosbyan, and these are the headlines of the bulletin tonight.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank, Never Prime Water.
Ghana's ambassador to the United States of America, Victor Emmanuel Smith, says former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has expressed apprehension over his fate should he return to Ghana.
Also, Paramount Chief of the Wassa Fiase traditional area, Odeneho Akrofa Kokroko III, urges President Mahama to prioritize revival of the Western rail lines.
Also tonight, Energy Ministry and Ghana Grid Company Limited GridCo assure of minimal disruption to electricity supply ahead of scheduled maintenance works by the West African Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO.
Much later in international news, Iran Supreme Leader's first time publicly acknowledges that thousands of people were killed, some in an inhumane savage manner during recent protests.
We have details of these and more, plus sports entertainment in the next hour if you stay with us.
Let's start with the bulletin from here. And former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, who has been detained by the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE, is expected to appear before a judge on January 20. Now, ahead of that appearance, Ghana's ambassador to the United States, Victor Emmanuel Smith, says he has been told why the former minister is unwilling to return to the country to answer corruption charges against him. The following report has more.
The United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE detained former Minister for Finance Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta on January 6. Ghana's ambassador to the United States of America, Victor Emmanuel Smith, has said the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has expressed apprehension over his fate should he return to Ghana. Speaking on the key points, Ambassador Smith revealed that this fear was expressed by Ofori-Atta's cousin, Gabi Otridakon, in a phone conversation.
I had a call from Gabi Otridakon. He expressed that worry. And I assured him that he will have to go through the due process. I mean, everybody goes through a due process of law. So there's not going to be like, people are not going to attack him. We don't behave like that. He and that Ken himself, by his own doings, being evasive with the OSP and rest, have created this brouhaha around his case. So that is the point. So don't let nobody get me wrong. It was not my own view. It was a view expressed by Gabi Otridakon, who is a relative of his. I wanted to have an opportunity to assure him that he would have to go through the due process like anybody else goes through the due process.
Vice President of Imani Africa, Kofi Bento, who also spoke on the key points, said Ken Ofori-Atta is not in Ghana, not because he fears how he will be treated.
I know that Ken would like to come back, but he's apprehensive about how he'll be treated because of the kinds of things that have been said and done in the past 1 year. And look, let us all, step back and be sober about these things. We all want accountability, okay? And if we are going to believe what Ambassador Smith is saying, then Ken himself wants to come and clear his name. And Ofori-Atta is apprehensive because somebody thinks that the day he steps into this country, he will be locked up in a cell and the key will be thrown away.
Kofi Bento questioned the 78 charges brought against the former finance minister by the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
I have said publicly that any prosecutor who charges, in a high-profile case like this with 78 charges is not serious. Because you will go and do the work in a clinical, laser-focused way. So, for me, it is not so much about the issues in court, etc., which are an issue. And I was the first person to say, charge Ken and try him in absentia because the law allows that.
But Minister in charge of Government Communications, Felix Kwakye believes that the former finance minister is simply trying to evade accountability.
Ken has no difficulty coming except that he is worried about how he will be treated.
You don't believe it?
I don't believe it.
Why?
You see, it is a contrived excuse. Because I will assess Ken by his conduct, not by his words. Everything he has done here shows that he's been trying to evade justice. That is all. The man has tried to evade justice for a year or so. Yeah. So, near say so by himself or people close to him that he would like to come, but he is afraid of how he will be treated, does not catch eyes with me. Number two, what has happened in this country that is so extraordinary in terms of how we treat persons accused of crime? That Ken Ofori-Atta is afraid of. What has happened?
Meanwhile, former MP for Asante-Achem North, Andy Apiakubi, insists Ken has nothing to fear as the laws of Ghana are no respecter of persons.
Former Chief Justice said the law is the law.
Yes.
So there is no preferential treatment
for anybody
when you are before the law. And let us all also acknowledge the fact that Ken could not and did not participate in any way possible in punishment of anybody before the law in the last regime.
Thank you.
And he did not have that power to do so.
Thank you.
And indeed, in this era also, there is a presumption that the law court is the law court. Application for bail will be determined based on conditions set by the law.
Exactly.
And that includes also the possibility of submitting yourself to the process if you are granted that leave.
ICE has described him as an illegal alien who has overstayed his permitted admission. According to ICE, the former finance minister's conduct amounts to a violation of U.S. immigration law, which could result in deportation.
Well, let's just stay in the U.S. because Ghana's ambassador to the United States, Victor Smith, says the embassy is yet to make contact with detained former chief executive officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, MASLOC. Sadina Tamaklo Ationu was detained by U.S. Marshals in Nevada following Ghana's extradition request. Ambassador Victor Smith says Sadina Ationu is set to appear in court on January 21, 2026.
I was informed the very day I issued that statement. That was when it was confirmed by the U.S. authorities. I don't know for a fact where she's been living, but she was arrested in the state of Nevada by the U.S. Marshals. I know that there were two extradition requests, as far as I'm concerned, the one on Ken Ofori-Atta. And then when our sister Sedina was also picked up by the U.S. Marshals, it was because of an extradition request by the same Ghana government. What happened was that ICE picked our brother Ken Ofori-Atta on the 6th. Okay, I got to know on the 7th. And then there were rumors making round that our sister had also been picked on the same 6th. But I didn't have confirmation from ICE. ICE had confirmed Ken's one, but since they were not the ones who picked our sister up, I wasn't getting the information, and I could not come out to confirm or deny it until the day I issued a statement, or soon after they had confirmed to me where she had been, where she was being kept, that I issued a statement. Was impossible to find out what sort of assistance he would want from Ghana government. Our sister, once we make contact with her, we'll try and find out, whether she needs any kind of support or assistance of any kind. We need to get to speak to her first.
And now to the state of Ghana's public transport sector. Ghana's transport challenges, they have manifested again over the past few weeks, with commuters stranded and forced to spend hours in long queues waiting for vehicles to get to their destinations. And while some blame a lack of planning by leaders for the woes. Others say the situation is symptomatic of a broader crisis affecting all sectors of the national economy. And there's more in this report.
If you come from home and morning tea be 7 cities from Dome, by the go home from Accra to Achimota station be 10 cities, all station to Dome it be 5 cities. So that one be say 15 cities, difference 8 cities. It be Kalabule.
Now Pokwase the fare is 6 cities, but in the evening time they take 10 cities. Sometimes you take it like short. They will load from like Circuit to Barrier 10 cities. After Barrier you need to take some to Pokwase. So from here to Pokwase you can pay almost like 50 cities.
The ordeal many passengers put through over the past few weeks due to the shortage of public transport during morning and night rush hours. Long queues formed at various loading points across Accra, with passengers having to wait for hours just to get vehicles to their destinations. Private public transport operators took advantage of the situation, offering only short distance trips or charging higher fares than usual. The situation has not only drained the meager income of workers, but has also put a strain on their health, as they get only a few hours of sleep before waking up to face the next day's struggles. The situation lays bare Ghana's failure in planning. The public transport system has also not worked well due to this failure of planning, with no dedicated bus lanes available for even the few available government-run buses are forced to be in the same congested traffic the transport mode was meant to solve. Vice President Professor Nana Gino Pokwajiman, during a tour of some public transport operators, raised the challenge.
Dedicating lanes for the buses to ply is very, very important, because if I'm going to leave my cars elsewhere and be in the queue, then maybe there's a very little attraction in using that option. So it's just unfortunate that we have to go back instead of advancing what was there.
A finance lecturer at the University of Ghana, Professor Godfred Bokbin, speaking on the key points, said the kind of daily routine that commuters in Accra practice could have serious health implications on their lives.
People actually work in traffic rather than working in the office. Some people have to wake up by 3 a.m. Sometimes by 3:30 a.m. or 4 a.m. they've set off. And then when they close, they have to endure this traffic. So on the average, people are sleeping less than 4 hours. If you continue like this without any break, the health implication, maximum 15 years, your body will give up.
Former MP for Asante Achim North, Andy Apiakubi, suggested that dealing with the transportation crisis in the country requires government to explore alternatives.
We can bring 1 million vehicles on the road. It will not solve the problem. So obviously we are going to create a far worse situations as we even go forward if the level of infrastructure development does not match the level of demands for use of the infrastructure. And the solution that I think would be is to increase the mix and let's get alternatives like railway.
Until the government take decisive action with the support of the private sector to improve the country's transport infrastructure by exploring alternatives to roads in an increasingly congested Greater Accra and other regions, the challenge of moving from one point to the other will continue to worsen. Without such interventions, daily commuting and transportation will become increasingly difficult, affecting productivity, economic growth, and the quality of life for Ghanaians.
And the National Road Safety Commission says it will not hesitate to impose sanctions, including barring use of certain cars where necessary. This comes in the wake of the Commission tasking a committee to probe recent concerns about multiple accidents involving Toyota Voxy vehicles. Nura Mohammed reports.
Converting a car from right-hand drive to left-hand drive may sound straightforward, but it can create serious problems. Now, while it is lawful to convert vehicles from right hand to left hand in Ghana, if not done properly, can pose serious road safety threats. The National Road Safety Authority says it has constituted a technical working group to probe into the commercial use of converted Toyota Voxy vehicles for long journeys. And these cars, while not assembled in Ghana, are imported either already converted or converted upon arrival. However, these conversions, improperly done, could cause problems such as affecting the car's braking response, airbag deployment, and crash protection. It can also affect visibility and handling, the steering geometry, headlights, mirrors, and wipers may not align correctly after conversion, increasing blind spots and reducing control, especially at high speeds. Moreover, some experts say conversions often involve cutting the firewall, rerouting wiring, and modifying steering components, and if done improperly, can lead to electrical faults, steering failure, or premature wear. The Director General of the National Road Safety Authority, NRSA, Abraham Amaleba, says the authority will ensure the technical working group works together with Toyota Ghana to conduct an in-depth investigation into the matter.
We want to do a thorough work, and so we don't want to just stop at our preliminary investigations and conclude that the vehicles are not roadworthy. And so we've put together a committee that will do more detailed work. But in the meantime, we need to caution the public of the state of affairs regarding the Toyota Voxy minibus.
He also intimates that should the investigation conclude that Toyota Voxy vehicles are unsafe to ply our roads, be it for private or commercial use, the National Road Safety Authority, NRSA, will take appropriate action.
The National Road Safety Authority has the power to withdraw the license of operators when it is found that the activities of the operator is a danger to safety on our roads. When we receive the report and it is to the effect that the vehicle is not roadworthy, then we will not hesitate to recommend the withdrawal of those vehicles from our roads.
So, if you see any Toyota Voxy vehicle at any bus station or bus stop, do well for your own safety to avoid taking them, at least until the National Road Safety Commission says otherwise. Nura Mohammed for TV3 News, Accra.
Away from that, the paramount chief of the Wasafiase traditional area, Odeneho Akrofa Kukroko III, has appealed to President Mahama and his government to prioritize the revival of the Western Rail lines. His call follows what many see as the abandonment of the €500 million project initiated by the previous administration with a 42-month lifeline. Now, compounding this is the $165 million Kojo to Takoradi passenger line left to deteriorate since its commissioning in November 2016. Rama Smith has more.
2016, this station at Kojokrom was the scene of national celebration. President Mahama had commissioned a new $165 million railway line for the Sekondi Takoradi area, promising it marked the transformation of Ghana's railways. The 15-kilometer line was meant to connect communities and boost the local economy, but this has stalled. What you hear now is the sound of neglect. The only passengers are the elements. Rust is the new conductor, steering these luxury coaches towards ruin. A state investment of $165 million is now a decaying liability, raising urgent questions about what went wrong.
We are here because of this train service. However, for some time now, the trains have not been operational. We, the workers, were tasked with ensuring the smooth running of the trains, but the proposed fares for tickets was rejected by the government. With the current fare, we cannot break even.
Students training to rebuild Ghana's railways are watching this decay with dismay. At the School of Railways and Infrastructure Development at Esikado, affiliated with the University of Mines and Technology, Takwa, the sentiment is one of disappointment.
I'm very disturbed with the current situation of our railway in our country. This is because I feel like we've left it to just be in the shambles. Here, we are the School of Railway and Infrastructure Development. So if we are able to build our Western Railway system, it will give this UMAT campus a new kind of vision. It will give it a new kind of enlightenment, because people would want to come here more, because at least they are going to find the railways within the school.
We are hoping for the best, for the company to be revived well, for us to also get somewhere to actually work or engineer what we are actually learning from UMAT.
For 10 years, one major question has lingered. Why are we here? How did a multi-million-dollar project end up rotting away? We are here at the Takoradi Port Station, where roofing sheets have been ripped off. The Ghana Railway Company says it is aware of the problem, but no solution is in sight. This decay isn't isolated. Nearly every station along the line suffers from the same neglect. Weeds are overtaking the tracks, and disrepair is the standard. But could there be hope in sight? The Ghana Railway Company Limited's Managing Director, Dr. Michael Eje Aite, says they have signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ghana Manganese Company to restart operations on the line. He's calling for government backing to speed up the process and improve rail services.
We had an agreement from GMC. GMC is Ghana Manganese Company. They made some proposals. They gave it to us. We also did a counter proposal. This proposal, I've been assured, it's gone to the minister and it has gone to the president. Because if you don't do that, this company will collapse. We on our own, we can't do it. Can we do it? No, sir. We can't do it.
The previous NPP government marked a new beginning in a well-attended ceremony at Manso in the Western Region's Impoho district on July 5, 2022, where officials cut the sword for a 78-kilometer standard gauge railway line. This landmark, €500 million project, the largest of its kind in Ghana, was to be built by Amandi Investment Limited over 42 months, connecting Manso to Hini Valley. The contract included constructing stations and supplying trains and maintenance equipment. At the event, then President Akufo-Addo had highlighted continued progress on the Western Line, reporting that the 22-kilometer segment from Kojokrom to Manso was on track for completion before the close of 2022. 4 years later, the site is silent and abandoned. Indigents along the route are desperate for an intervention. Paramount Chief of the Wasafiase traditional area, Odenehu Akrofa Kokoko III, has appealed urgently to President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC administration to refocus efforts on the dormant Western rail lines.
Your Excellency, I need him. Where was Asemi? Wabay? This is how say ma. Express train na and when we are Emra.
Your Excellency, I wish to appeal for the restoration of the former express train service. This service was of great benefit to the smaller communities situated along the railway. At present, however, the infrastructure has fallen into disrepair. We humbly request your urgent attention and intervention regarding the Western Railway.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Western Region.
And trading activities at the Yoyimu markets along the Dawenya-Afienya Road are fast declining due to the dusty nature of the road. This comes after the contractor working on the Dawenya-Afienya Road moved his equipment off-site, leaving traders and commuters struggling. Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogbe has the rest of the story.
The news team first toured the Tema Aflao Road, which stretches from the Bombaria through the Pram Junction. Work on the road was progressing steadily, with the construction company actively on sites on Saturday morning. According to the road users, ongoing works have significantly eased heavy vehicular congestion on the stretch. Construction has currently reached Dawenya, where several structures are expected to be demolished to make way for the road expansion. Another road project under Oswald Company Limited is the Dawenya-Afienya Dodua Road, also launched as part of the Big Push initiative. However, there was no sign of the contractor on site between Dawenya and Afienya. A major market along this stretch, traders say, is gradually collapsing due to the poor and dusty condition of the road. The traders questioned why the contractor has moved equipment from site, noting that the situation is negatively affecting commercial activities at the market.
When they started with the road construction, we were very excited, but unfortunately, they have moved their equipment. This is really affecting the operations of the markets, with traders refusing to visit our markets.
The dust is affecting us so much, part of our food and our drinking water. Some help us through cold and a lot of diseases. And we used to sit on motorbikes to the house or marketing or work, it affects us a lot.
Our road to the market is not good at all. The beginning that they are starting the market was moving, but the rain starting falling, everything, if you take motor or vehicle, they will charge you a lot because of the roadside. So we are breeding government to help us to do the road for us.
They came last year and we were really happy, but they have gone to sleep again. We believe this government won't fail us.
The news team later visited offices of the construction company, where engineers explained that work was suspended due to challenges in relocating major water pipelines crossing the road. They indicated that discussions are currently underway with the Ghana Water Company Limited to facilitate the relocation of the pipelines to allow work to resume. The team later moved to the Dodowa-Adenta Road, where commuters complained about the difficulty in using the road due to ongoing construction works. The commuters are appealing to the contractors to regularly smoothing the road during construction to make it more motorable and reduce discomfort for road users. Joseph Armstrong, Gold Alogbe, TV3, Accra.
Time now for a breather. The bulletin returns shortly. Don't go.
Why are more and more professionals choosing Flamingo Paint?
As an interior decorator, I aim for that beautiful, elegant look. Flamingo Paint has great hiding ability to cover entrances.
notified by WAPCO of mandatory maintenance works on its gas facilities in Ghana, scheduled for Sunday, January 18. Now, due to the exercise, there will be a temporary interruption in gas supply to thermal power plants located in Tema during the maintenance period. Gridco noted that the planned maintenance is necessary to ensure the safety, reliability, and integrity of the gas supply infrastructure. Well, Dr. Yusuf Suleiman is technical advisor at the Energy Ministry. Doc, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. Explain to us how the scheduled WAPCO maintenance will impact electricity supply in Tema and across the country.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to you and your cherished listeners and viewers in Ghana and across the globe. Yeah, indeed, if you understand how the pipeline structure works, Tema is located at the eastern part of Ghana, whilst we have the gas pool located in the western part. And so we do make use of the WAPCO, that's West African Gas Pipeline, to be able to convey, the gas from the western part of Ghana to the eastern part in Tema. And so if WAPCO is undergoing maintenance, for sure, there will be temporary cut of gas supply, to the eastern part to power the thermal plant. However, if you notice the release, a lot of engagement has been done with stakeholders, and I think enough measures have been put in place, enough mitigations have been put in place to forestall any potential disruption. However, the ministry together with Gridco is releasing this because, in abundance of caution, we should send this across. But just to let people know that such a maintenance is going to happen. During maintenance, there are surprises. You don't know when the time will extend and other things. However, we don't anticipate any major disruption or any disruption that will impact, industries, to the extent that maybe we'll have erratic power supply. No, because Gridco, together with other stakeholders, they have met and they have put enough mitigations in place. There will be some alternative fuel within the period that will be able to cover the shortfall during the maintenance period.
Doc, we'll get to the measures shortly, but I wanted you to dwell a while longer on what impact this is likely to have on the country and what areas are we looking at and how long?
Yeah, so the period is just 8 to 9 hours. It starts from 6 and ends around I think 3 o'clock p.m. So within that period, like I mentioned, let's say assuming we didn't have alternative in place, it means that we would have been able to knock off some amount of supply to the grid. But hopefully that's not going to happen. Like I mentioned, the important thing is assuming we didn't have alternative. Let's say we didn't have any backup. We didn't have contingency plans, or let's say contingency plans failed, then we could have within that period that supply of gas may affect maybe some thermal plants that are located within the eastern part of Ghana, that is Tema region. And so if thermal plants are down, you will notice that will have cascading impact on the supply of power, to the enclave. However, like I mentioned, we don't anticipate this. The fact that we have alternative fuel in place to be able to cover that. I mean, that means that we should not entertain any fears. So this release is there just for abundance of caution, for us to just be aware that to be in the know that this kind of maintenance is going to take place. And like I mentioned, a lot of the power plants within the eastern part is powered by gas, and the gas is supposed to come from the western part. And once the pipeline is going to be under maintenance, within that period, that gas is going to be disrupted from reaching that corridor. So it's just good that we send that caution, across for players, stakeholders, and utility power consumers to know that such a maintenance is taking place.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that is not to say that we are anticipating any erratic power supply or any disruption in power supply. Yeah.
Good to know. Doc, I'd like to thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Yusuf Suleiman is technical advisor at the Energy Ministry, explaining to us the circumstances we find ourselves. And it's good to know that some contingency measures have been adopted. Let's do some other stories.
Right, Crosby. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, says the 3-month extension of Ghana's program is only technical in nature. The fund says this is to allow for data analysis, and Ghana's ready to assist the program.
On December 17th, the IMF Executive Board completed the 5th review of Ghana's ECF arrangement. This allowed for the disbursement of $365 million US, and that brought total disbursements since May 2023 to about $2.8 billion US. So that's where the program stands. In addition, at that time, the board approved a 3-month extension of the program. The extension was purely technical, and it was aimed at allowing sufficient time to complete the final review of the program, including an assessment of data for the end of 2025 and the end of the first quarter of 2026.
Now, English, once shaped mainly by Britain and the West, is now reflecting African voices. From Abeg to Jakpa and Afrobeats, everyday West African expressions have entered the West African English Dictionary. The Oxford English Dictionary sparking debate over language ownership and identity. Samuel Yabo-Adams has more here.
They are common expressions used in everyday conversations and are normally used interchangeably with the official language. Abeg when pleading, Abrotre for overseas, Japa for migration, and Afrobeat for the popular music genre enjoyed by many.
The government must do more to make the economy of Ghana more attractive to the youth so that they don't japa.
Afrobeat has come a long, long way, and I hope we all jump to it.
I can't wait to go to Abrotre. Please don't involve me in this for halal, I beg.
Just recently, the Oxford English Dictionary added about 500 new words, phrases and meanings to its lexicon, with several entries originating from West Africa. The above words, alongside other West African words from various categories such as slangs, interjections, food and culture, were included. A number of Ghanaian words were also featured: Abrotre, Obroni, hip life, light soup, among others. This addition has sparked a lot of conversations, with many describing it as a feat. But is it really a feat? English professor and renowned poet Professor Kofi Anyido says that English has always evolved.
This is normal with not just English but languages, that every language borrows from other languages. To pick up Dumso, at the time it came up here, once it got into popular usage here, they recognized it because that's what they've been doing all along.
For him, the African language has always been valid, irrespective of global acknowledgement.
What is missing is our failure to recognize the legitimacy of our own languages. If we don't recognize the legitimacy of our own languages, the importance of what business has anybody got to do it for us?
Senior lecturer at the English Department of the University of Ghana, Legon, Dr. Kwabno Opoku-Agyeman, also explained how the addition of the West African words and expressions into the Oxford English Dictionary has a bearing on the way English is taught on the African continent.
Hopefully, some of these incidents will help us stop looking down on our ways of doing things. For example, we call our languages vernacular. And vernacular has a very problematic history in terms of its meaning, for instance. And we are the ones doing it to ourselves. We can celebrate and acknowledge and embrace our own words and our own language because it's part of our culture.
Many continue to ask, should students be encouraged to see their local expressions as part of global English?
We can easily do Ghanaian English or create Ghanaian English or promote Ghanaian English in different ways. Actually, I have colleagues here who are doing that kind of work. With the proper funding and support, they'll come up with a corpus of Ghanaian English grammar, Ghanaian English semantics, Ghanaian English morphology, and so on and so forth. And they're all fine.
Meanwhile, Professor Anyidoho believes that the local language should be embraced to legitimize it enough.
We are hooked up on Brofosem, and some people may be surprised that I am saying this sitting here in the English department as a professor of English. I say so without hesitation because
I have learned the history of how the English language moved from being in a situation where our languages are in today during the Middle Ages. But I also write a book of poems in Ewe. We must be doing both. We should not sacrifice our own for the benefit of somebody else's language.
Some students from the English department of the University of Ghana reacted to the Oxford English Dictionary add-up.
I think it's honestly very great how the English language is becoming very inclusive of West African languages.
We've been using the English language for as long as we can remember. And the addition of these words into the Oxford Dictionary makes us feel recognized.
Hearing that some words that we have been mentioning lots of times in our part of the world has been added to the Oxford Dictionary makes us feel very heard.
Ghanaian local words being added to the Oxford Dictionary is a big flex for our culture.
It's very exciting for kids growing to see words which were formerly known as native words in the Oxford Dictionary.
The update also featured additions from across the world, including Maltese English, Japanese English, and South Korean English, reflecting the increasingly global nature of the English language. As globalization continues to bridge up communication barriers, scholars say more addition could be seen in the future. Samuel Yeboah Adams for TV3 News, Accra.
Indeed, African words crossing borders, but I wonder whether you can write them in an exam and whether your SHS teacher will understand that these words are now in the dictionary. So
you tell him they've been added, so they are words that are recognized.
If you were to form a sentence with any of the words, what would you say?
I'm going to Abuchi with my Ghana must go. Okay. I beg. I don't want wahala.
I think we should be adding words like boza.
That is saying
walai.
It's very popular. Atasa.
Yeah.
It's very popular. We can add all of that.
This is News 360. We're back with more. Stay with us. Don't go away.
Aso insecticide spray and coil.
It's time for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alote. We start off on the continent with the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Nigeria claimed bronze today after defeating Egypt on penalties in the third-place playoff game. It will be Senegal up against host nation Morocco in the final, which takes place tomorrow at 7 p.m. 3 Sports' Bilishen witnessed the Super Eagles solidify their title as kings of third-place finishes and has filed this report.
Finally ended in the third place playoff, and Nigeria have come out victors, winning on penalties. Stanley Wabali was the hero of the day, saving 2 crucial penalties as the Super Eagles managed to claim the bronze medal. Of course, they bounced back from a heartbreaking semi-final defeat to Morocco, where they lost on penalties, and they bounced back to defeat Egypt on penalties. Now, there are some reactions from some journalists after Nigeria secured bronze in the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations.
Of course, I feel really great. It was a game that we never wanted to play, but it was a game that we had to play. So I'm glad that the Super Eagles of Nigeria won. They played really well to go home empty-handed. So I think it's a well-deserved victory against Egypt.
Solitary win, important win. We thought this group has done just enough to, win something because of the work that they put in. Disappointing that they couldn't make it to the World Cup. More painful that they couldn't beat Morocco to reach the final. But hey, this is the least they can do for themselves. And they've done it. Same penalties that they couldn't score against Morocco. We could see their mental strength, The goalkeeper, the other players. Imagine them losing the first penalty and they came back to win it. Tells you that there's something about, learning from your mistakes. So congratulations to Super Eagles.
Yeah, we feel so good. We feel it's an achievement. Like going on with bronze is still something because you play for something, we still win something. Unlike winning silver medals, winning silver medal means you lost to the first place, but third place means you still win something. So it was a fight, but we held it to the end.
Of course, the next one is the grand finale, which will be happening at the Prince Moulay Abdullah Stadium in Rabat between Morocco and also Senegal. And there'll be a lot of eyes going into that game. Morocco having won the trophy since 1976. Senegal last won the AFCON in 2021 and have been in 3 AFCON finals in the last 4 editions. But we will be giving you further updates tomorrow. That is Sunday on the final here on TV3 and all other media general platforms. My name is Bilishen from the Mohammed V Stadium here in Casablanca.
Bill for the report and congratulations to Nigeria. Proceeding now to game week 19 of the Ghana Premier League, Bibiani Gold Stars and Asante Kotoko played out a goalless draw at Duns Park earlier this afternoon. The result leaves Gold Stars in second place with 33 points and 7 points off the top of the league table. For Kotoko, they are in fourth place with 32 points and 8 points off the top of the table. Midiama remains top with 40 points after their 2-1 victory over Vision FC.
Samba O'Neal has it into the net, and referee whistles. There was an infringement, and the goal would not count. But Samba O'Neal rose and just hit the ball into the net from the header, but it won't count.
It was quite surprising. You look at that delivery there coming in from Lord Amoa. It looks hard virtually, and look at that.
Following the draw, coach of the Porcupine Warriors, Abdul Karim Zito, appeared satisfied with the result and explained that his tactical plan worked to perfection. Meanwhile, coach of Bibiani Gold Stars, Fritz Marcus Schmidt, says he gives credit to his team because they played against a strong side.
Tactically, I think we came with a game plan, and the game plan worked to perfection. When you look at the way we play today and compare to the way we played in Kumasi, there's a lot of difference in today's game, and I'm very satisfied with the way the boys played. And at least we scored a goal, but it is up to the level.
You think that goal should have stood?
Well, I'm far from where the goal was scored. So seriously, I haven't seen exactly what has happened. I saw the fly of the ball coming, and I saw my boy jumping, but I was even jubilating when they say it's no good. So I can't easily tell you what exactly happened.
I have to give them a lot of credit because we played a very strong side who had a solid game, a good possession game. They put us under pressure, especially in the second half, and we kept up and we hold against them. So this is the first thing I have to really put out and praise the team for fighting against a good, a clever, and also a bit more experienced side.
Heading over to game week 22 of the English Premier League, perhaps it is the season of new managers, a transformed Manchester United.
The 3v2. Look at the run from Mbeumo. He gives himself some space, gives Fernandes an opportunity.
That will be all for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alute. Up next is entertainment news.
Entertainment news segment. Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Entertainment tonight, Charterhouse organizers of the Telecel Ghana Music Awards TGMAs have officially opened entries for the 27th edition of the country's premier Music Awards scheme. In a post announcing the call for entries, Charterhouse invited artist managers, record labels, producers, instrumentalists, music composers, music industry stakeholders, and members of the general public to submit legible works for consideration. The organizers explained that only musical works released between January 1 and December 31, 2025 qualify for submission for the upcoming awards. They further indicated that the deadline for entries is Monday, February 8, 2026. Charterhouse stressed that all submissions must be made exclusively through the official Telecel Ghana Music Awards online portal at www.entry.ghanamusicawards.com, noting that entries submitted through any other means will not be accepted. The TGMAs, now in its 27th year, continue to celebrate and recognize excellence in Ghana's music industry, honorate outstanding achievements by artists and industry players.
Well, auditions for the 17th edition of TV3's Talented Kids are set to kick off. And parents of children with exceptional talents are encouraged to seize this exciting opportunity to showcase their kids on a national platform. The audition tour begins in Kumasi at Mecklin Hotel on the 18th of January 2026, starting from 8 a.m. and will make its final stop at the TV3 premises in Accra on 20th January 2026. Children between the ages of 6 and 12 will have the chance to perform and be evaluated by a panel of judges who will take over from the Ice Girl. Could it be your child?
Let's bring the latest from the international front.
Iran's supreme leader has for the first time publicly acknowledged that thousands of people were killed. Some is an inhumane, savage manner during recent protests. A violent response to the unrest has claimed 3,090 lives, according to US-based Iranian human rights activist news agency, with some activist group putting the death toll far higher. An internet blackout has made it extremely difficult to get clear information. In a speech on Saturday, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said thousands had been killed and blamed the US for the deaths. US President Donald Trump recently urged Iranian demonstrators to keep protesting and threatened military intervention if security forces kill them. Donald Trump has announced plans to hit the UK, Denmark and other European countries with a 10% tariff on all or any goods exported to the US from 1st February. In a post on Truth Social, the US president says these will remain in place until such time as a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland.
This is a surprise announcement that has now injected a newfound sense of urgency into the issue of Greenland. Meanwhile, thousands of people in Greenland and Denmark have protested against plans by US President Donald Trump to take over Greenland, an autonomous Danish territory. Demonstrations were held in Danish cities including the capital, Copenhagen, as well as in Greenland's capital, Nuuk. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has been declared the winner of the Thursday's election, extending his 4 decades in power by another 5 years. Museveni, 81, first came to power as a rebel leader in 1986, but since then has won 7 elections. He gained 72% of the vote. The Election Commission announced against 25% for the closest challenger, Bobi Wine, who has condemned what he described as fake results and ballot stuffing. Wine has not provided any details and the authorities have not responded to his allegations, but African Union election observers said they saw no evidence of ballot stuffing. Wine has called for non-violent protests.
And thank you for spending the last 1 hour with us. That's how we draw the curtains on News 360. We came to you live from our studios here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. There's more news on our website, on3news.com. I am Noble Crosby Annen.
And I'm Grace Hamwajim. And thank you for joining us. Just as tonight is up, don't go away.